YouParty. Today's episode is about SpaceX's birthday party.
This episode was supposed to come out on May 6th for SpaceX's birthday, but I had some issues with my laptop. Anyway, I hope you will enjoy it. For the chocolate, I made Falcon 9, Falcon Heavy, the booster, and fairings. I made the rockets using polymer clay, and I baked it, and then I made a mold. And as you can see, my molding technique was not good, so it got stuck in the containers. I would recommend using cardboard or foam board and making a box. That way, even if it got stuck, you can break it and get the mold out of it. Because the silicone got underneath the rockets, at this moment I was just trying to remove as much as I possibly could. As you can see, the rocket looks perfect. After that, I washed it with soapy water. To cast the chocolate rockets, I used candy melt or melted wafers. I used the microwave, but of course you can use a double boiler. I did not have to spray my mold, but of course it depends on the material of the mold you're using. I used this chocolate mold to create the moon. You can also use it for other planets, or you can use cake pops. I add more chocolate than I need, and then I scrape off the top. And I do the same thing with the half spheres. You can also use a chocolate if you prefer. If you are using candy melts, you only need to put it in the freezer for 5 minutes. If you're using a chocolate, you may need to put it longer. With a knife, I gently remove the excess. Okay, this is unnecessary detail, but to make a sphere, you need 2 half circles. And just glue them together with some chocolate. To cover the cakes, I prepared some ganache. For the planets, I prepared 2 half spheres for Mars and 2 small ones for planet Earth. And then I leveled the inner parts. And because I did not make this on one day, I did not have enough time or space, and I put them in the fridge, and due to the settings of my fridge, they kind of collapse, so it will vary by the temperature of your house and your fridge. And because I had some gaps between both of my layers, I mixed some of the leftover cakes with some ganache, which by the way you can use to make cake pops, and I used it to seal the gaps, if that makes sense. And that's how it looks like. And then I put it in the fridge to chill for like an hour or so. And then I used ganache to cover the entire cake. I covered one half, put it in the fridge to chill, and then covered the other half. And do the same thing with the other sphere. After that, I put it in the fridge for 30 minutes. And then I took it out, left it outside for a bit, and smoothened the surface. I made a tiny cake board for the Mars cake. I used orange with some red fondant to cover the Mars cake. At this moment I was trying to smoothen the fondant, and it was hard for me to do so because my fondant was so thick. I would recommend that you use thin layer and just cut it and do it in 2 parts or 2 sections. Because unless you know exactly what you're doing a spherical cake is not easy. So mine ended up having a lot of cracks at the bottom, and it kind of collapsed because the fondant was so heavy. For planet Earth, I'm using blue fondant to cover the entire Earth, and I faced the same issue, although I was using a lot thinner fondant. And I think it's going to be better if you covered it with 2 parts. Also, because it's small, you can just dip it in candy melts. I printed a map as a reference and then cut out the shapes just looking at it. You can make it more detailed by using it on top of your fondant, but I was in a rush, so that worked for me. If you decided to dip it in candy melts, you can also use candy melts to draw the continents, or use royal icing. I'm using sugar cookie to make the stars, using 2 shades of yellow. And I will also use edible stars. These are the small cookie cutters that I have for a star shape. I decided to color the cookie dough in yellow instead of using royal icing. I used the smallest, biggest star cutter that I have with the biggest small set of star cutters that I have. But here's the mistake I made. I used them all at the same time on one sheet. So when I baked them, the small ones get burned. So I had to do another batch of only the small ones. And these are the small cookies after I baked them. Using the Crooked Design space, I designed a card. The front of it says, "I need my space," but in the front of the Starman it says, "Don't panic," and in the inside it says, "Of course, I still love you." Because I couldn't find good photos of it, I have to recreate the whole thing, and this will be the inside of the card. And then I printed it using cardstock on the highest setting on my Canon printer. And then I used my Cricut machine to cut it. Of course, this was simple, it's not complicated, so you can cut it by hand. So this is the card, and this is the inside of it. I used double-sided tape to attach it. And here's the card after it's done. For the cake board and the background, I'm just using foam board and using acrylic paint, a brush to make the stars. You can make this using chocolate, and I could have, but I didn't have enough time, so I just colored it using acrylic paint. For the car, I'm using red Modeling chocolate and black fondant. I'm using these as references, but at the end, I really did not have time to get the details, so I rushed it doing as much as I possibly could. I really can't give any details of what I'm doing here. You just kind of have to look at the reference and try to get the details from there. And you can take away some parts and add on some parts depending on the details. I'm adding some of the black for the back. And I also used some acetate for the glass, but it did not work, so I didn't end up using it. Here I'm adding the black details for the inside. I also did not have much time to add the seats or Starman. Here I'm making the wheels. And this is the base where the car will go. And that's it. Here's the moon. I just spread it with silver edible spray. Here's everything I made for SpaceX birthday party. Hope that you guys liked it. Please, if you liked it, leave me a comment below and let me know what do you think is the theme for the next episode. There are some hints throughout this episode. Don't forget to like it if you like it, share it with your friends and your family, and please subscribe to my channel. I would like to thank Elon Musk and SpaceX for making some of our magical dreams come true. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Have a magical day.